So please welcome back to the show, Peter D. Welcome, Peter.
Hey, Ashley, it's an honor to be here with you and everybody listening today.
Oh, it's so fun. And I look back at the last time I had you on, and I remember people sending me pictures of your book after they listened to your first book. Now we're on to the second one, and telling me that they bought the book after listening to our episode. And I felt like that is having this podcast, you just don't know if people are listening because you're just hoping because you're loving it so much. And then when you get the feedback and you see these people like loving Peter D, and I thought, and clearing, and then getting on his website and doing the stare of in your eyes and all there's so many tools that we talked about the last time. But I know you've been in Europe, and I know you had this amazing 5-week trip. And I'm watching your journey, and, coming from a place, where you're putting this book out in your life, and you take these amazing journey over to Europe, and you get to have that retreat at that castle, which was like, I know that was a manifested miracle.
That was amazing.
But tell me, like, give me like where Peter D's been and what really is lighting you up right now.
Well, thank you. So, yeah, I'm super blessed right now. There's no other way to say it. I went to Europe for the first time in my life that I stepped outside of an airport. And I got to go 5 weeks in 5 countries. And it really, really showed me a lot about one, how magnificent and diverse the planet is, and how cool everything is out there. There's so much that you think you know stuff, right? But then you see other things.
Right.
And then, of course, it was like constant spiritual upgrades for me. I mean, every few days I was like connecting with a new entity that was, rooted in a certain area or a church, or, being thrown into past lives when I was listening to a Vivaldi concert and things
Huh.
like that. So I was just getting upgrades right and left that were just really profound. So I'm in this place where everything's kind of new, and I'm just trying to make sense of where life is at.
Right. When you go to like we were just in Greece and we went to the Acropolis, and I didn't really understand what that was, but I took the girls to Italy the year before in Paris. We did 3 trips, and then we're kind of done for right now because we're going to focus on college. And anyway, but when you go to those places, like you were explaining, when you are sitting in like the Sistine Chapel last year, when I was sitting in
Wow.
there and I'm looking, and I'm after reading your book and the Michelangelo painting, and you just realize, like, when you talk about like living in a place knowing that everything's happening now.
Yeah.
Okay, let's tell me what you like when you said like you're getting these downloads in these places, and you're channeling these new entities or whatever it is, these what
The
soul
entities, that's the only
entities.
word I know
Okay.
for it, right?
Entities. What Tell me that feeling, because when you're in when you're in a place like that has so much history, and then you're trying to wrap your head around like everything's happening now, and I'm really understanding we're all a fractal of God, and our higher mind and our higher self. It's just like I've expanded a lot since the last time we spoke.
Cool, cool.
And I love it, and I do owe it a lot to clearing. So
Thank you.
thank you. So talk about that when you go to the places. I didn't know that was your first time in Europe.
So let me just tell you about a 2 day experience I had. So I go to this church where Vivaldi is buried in Vienna. And so they celebrate, it's kind of more morbid, like they're dancing on his grave, but I enjoyed it. They celebrate Vivaldi's being dead there by doing the Four Seasons concert 4 nights a week. So I go, I love the Four Seasons. I wanted to see it. And these violinists are amazing. I mean, it was like the rock and roll of their era. So they're playing, and I'm just immediately catapulted into 2 past lives, one in the outskirts of Vienna before the time of Vivaldi, where I was a patron of the arts, and I could see, oh, this is what I used to do. Another one when I was in Genoa, and I was a violin player, and we would eagerly wait for the latest stuff from Vienna to come so we could play it, even though I was like a 2-bit violinist in a small court. It was still very exciting. So I was in this experience of realizing, oh, I've always done this. I've always liked this. This is inside me. So it was a big kind of opening, right?
Mm.
So
Mhm.
then the day after that, getting ready to see another concert because why not? I'm in Vienna and I like classical music. And I'm sitting there and I'm drinking an espresso on a walking mall and I'm watching all these people walk by. And Spirit starts talking to me. Okay, Peter, now focus on this person's field, not the person. Don't judge them, how they look, what you think, anything. Don't just focus on their field. Okay, now get it bigger. What color is it? What shape is it? What size is it? What does it feel like energy? Keep getting it bigger. And so each person would be in front of me for 5 or 10 seconds because they were walking past, right? And I'd get these little glimpses. And then after about 20 minutes of this, I'm like, each person's field is so expansive. I could
Mm.
start to see their dimensionality, their fractals all the way up to God. I'm like, oh my God, this is like a small person in front of me, 5 foot by 2 foot or whatever their size is,
Right.
but they were endless and infinite in size of their spirit. And I could just tap that. And as I was doing that, I was like, oh my God, all the judgments I make, this person is this way. And as soon as you do that with any person, you can't hate them. You can't go to
Right.
war. You can't fight them because you're seeing the expansiveness of who they are. And it's just so magnificent, which is also the expansiveness of who we are.
Right.
Right. So that was just huge, huge, huge. And then the next day I went to an organ concert in another church because they have these pipe organs and those actually literally affect you on an energetic level.
Right.
And so I'm sitting there and Spirit's just telling me this is where we're headed, into this expansive oneness field where you're connected with all people at this level. Right now, you're just doing it with small groups around you, but we're all headed there as a planet. That's what Ascension is about. That's when you become these massive group consciousnesses that other people will channel and download. Like they'll say Bashar's from this planet, but he's really speaking for a whole planet, even though it's just one voice. And other entities like Abraham, will tell you they're collectives and stuff like that. And that's where we're headed because you're starting to experience it now. So that was
Huh.
the biggest transformation of the trip, was that little 3-day period of the music and the big souls I got to tap into.
Oh, wow. Oh, I'm in there with you when you're describing it. I love it. And that organ, I understand that vibration. It's amazing. But when you talk about group consciousness, and I know you talk about Elon, this new group, I feel like that's new since we spoke last. I don't know why we didn't talk about it the first time. Is that a
There was
new?
so much to talk about. So let's talk about group
Yes,
consciousness,
let's
right?
talk about group consciousness because that's powerful.
Yeah. So, you go all the way back to the Bible, when two or more are gathered in my name, right? And then you feel the presence, right? So there's something about being with other people that just creates more energy.
Right.
Okay. Uh, and so the thing is, if you can get into oneness, that's where we're all headed. That's the end result of all this, is oneness. Uh, and literally in an enlightened state, if I look into your eyes, Ashley, I'll be looking at God and I will see that I'm looking at God.
Right.
Okay. Which is what my whole second book on God realization is about. Okay. So that's really that oneness state. When you're in that oneness state, then you can start to use the power of group consciousness. You all have free choice, and everybody can say, hey, I'm going to put my consciousness in. And then if it resonates, whatever you're focusing on, it's super powerful.
Right.
That's how you stop hurricanes. You move them around. And I know people who have done this. It's crazy. They've showed me maps of, hurricanes making right and left turns and stuff like that as they were moving it around because they were dealing with some people doing weather warfare who were using machines like HARP and stuff like that to move the hurricane in different directions. It's just wild what you can do with group consciousness. So you get into this group, and then what happens is you get the benefit of whatever anybody in the group gets, you
Mm.
experience. All right. So if they get an upgrade, you get an upgrade in your own time when you're ready to receive it, but it's now in your field. So uh, back maybe 6 years ago, my wife and I, we've been hosting a weekly oneness meditation for over a decade. And about 6 years ago, we twisted it and said, okay, now we're going to start doing intention of group consciousness and then prayers as a group, manifesting as a group. And if you read Lynn McTaggart's books
Hmm.
on the power of eight and stuff like that, she'll tell you that the people who do the praying for other people get as many or more benefits as the person being prayed for. So
Right.
what we were experiencing was that we were all getting these huge benefits. And then all of a sudden, we couldn't keep our focus on praying for a single person. We had to pray for the group, or pray for the community, or pray for the planet. So that's when it hit me that this is where we're going to go. And so when I went public with the Becoming Awesome website, we created a weekly meditation on Tuesday nights It's 7 o'clock Mountain Time. If you join at the community level membership, you'll see that. And you just immerse yourself in a field of group consciousness. And that alone is a gift, besides focusing on the skills and abilities that we're trying to bring in. And, we've got to the point now where we do it in 3 time zones. There's a beautiful lady, Jess, in Australia, who hosts it on Monday evenings, and Gerard hosts it in France on Wednesday evenings. So it doesn't matter your time zone. Get onto the website, find out where it is, and just start to practice group consciousness. It'll expand you in such a huge way. And we just happen to call ours Elon, like the French word for excitement and style, and all that stuff. And Elon, when we speak with Elon, he because it's its own consciousness now, chicken and the egg. Did we create it? Did it
Right.
create us? Who knows? Anyway, so when we speak with Elon, Elon says, okay, this is how it's done. This is how other planets went into it. We may not be the end group. There's other people around the planet forming group consciousnesses, and they will all merge if they choose to. But this is it. So anyway, I'm rooting go Elon. Let's become the planetary voice, and then 10,000 years from now, somebody on another planet, another dimension, will start to have channels from Elon helping them in their ascension.
Right. Wow. Yeah, I love it. Well, I mean, another thing is like when you talk about, we've been talking about 3D, 4D, 5D, that's language that we've been talking about since, I started the podcast in 2020. It probably, started around then more so than it was more of a, familiar vocabulary. And it's just every podcast I have now that's probably some words that we use. And when you explain it, I want you to explain this ascension, because I understand it more now after reading your book that you only wrote in like 3 weeks. Like that's mind blowing. And when you think of even that, the speed of that, like the speed of the earth, the speed of Gaia, where this planet, it's just, I feel like, the minute you understand the dimensions and the densities in our body and how we're changing our cells, our trillions of cells in our body that are changing what we're doing to our bodies now, like when you talk about talking to your cells and all the different things. But will you explain that, how you explain that 3D, 4D, 5D ascension going forward, and how you explain all the amazing things that we're experiencing in our bodies and what we're going to experience?
Yeah, I'm happy to share what I know. But since you read it in the book, let's just plug the book right now, because it's over my shoulder now. You can see both of them now.
It's right here too.
Yeah, there you go. So this is level 2 in the Ascension Handbook, God Realization. That's available now. And while I was in Europe, I wrote the first draft in 2.5 weeks of the third book. So about a month from now, the level 3 book, the whole series will be complete. And it's even more, if you think what's in 2 is boggling, this is even more boggling.
And the
So
third one is about service, right? That's it.
yes,
Okay.
service. It's going to be on service and how
Okay.
that completes you in ways that you just don't
Yes.
expect. So let's talk about the dimensions, the densities. Uh, okay, so it's all a matter of frequency. Uh, if you knock on a table next to you, you say, "Oh, this is solid," right? But the scientists tell you that it's made out of atoms and molecules, and they're spinning around with electrons, right? But most of it's empty space. But when they look at that very small level, it's empty, but when you look at it at our level, it's solid. And then you feel it and you think you're touching it, right? But you can't, because the electrons actually put a repulsive field around it, and your body is made out of atoms too, so it has electrons, so there's a repulsive field around it. So you don't even touch it, but you get the sensation you are. So
Right.
our minds make sense out of energy frequencies by seeing things and feeling things. And we only see a very small range of energy frequency. If you look at the color spectrum, we can only see a certain amount of colors. Dogs hear better than we hear, that kind of stuff. Okay. So if you took at the basic building blocks of the universe, consciousness plus energy determines the nature of reality. That's what it is. It's always consciousness mixed in with energy. And when you put those two together, you get reality. So if you look at dimensions, you're looking at a spectrum, just like light, just like color, just like physicality, and you can move through it. So if you change your density, you could move your hand through a wall. All right. Because if you
Okay.
vibrate at the same frequency as what that wall is, you would just pass through it. And there are people who have these kinds of things. People in the Philippines can do psychic surgery and stuff like that. So, what we're learning to do in Ascension is to move our frequency up the ladder and from what we call 3D, which is the physicality around us. And this is not dimensions, it is densities.
Density.
Okay.
Got it.
Into 4 and 5 and 6 and all the way up there. Okay. The higher you vibrate, the more expansive you are. So, one way to look at it, and I use this analogy in the book on God realization, is if you're climbing a building and you're on the first floor, you see pretty much what you can see out the front door. But if you go up 10 stories, your view's way further. Now, you've only changed one aspect. You're still on the same axis, but you've gone up higher. And now you
Okay.
see so much more. Then you go up higher and you see more. Now, I like to use the analogy that each step is not equal. It's not 1, 2, 3, 4, but it's 1, 2, 3, 4 is up in the sky, 5's up in the atmosphere, 6 is in orbit, right? So by the time you take a few of these steps, you're seeing things, you're hearing things, you're talking to different beings. Now, many of the beings that are helping us can't come down into 3D. Those that come down into 3D have to live with 3D. So many of the people on the planet who are star seeds and stuff like that, and then you scream and complain, oh my God, it's so tight and dense here. What am I doing? Well, yeah, that's why they don't come down. Okay. So you're very brave for having come down.
Right.
Right. So what they do is they're waiting for us to raise our density enough to be able to connect with them. Okay. And that is ascension. In the old language, it was called enlightenment. You're literally getting lighter.
Right.
Okay. Because you're releasing density, heaviness. Okay. And as you climb up in your densities, then you're able to speak and channel, and which everybody's getting those skills. It's not just me. It's just I'm
Right.
at the forefront and I'm just yelling, yay, look, you can do this. Okay. But everybody's getting those skills. And then, as you raise up high enough, you're going to start to have the one-on-one meetings with the ETs, right? And you hear the people who have them are always talking about they have them in places that are away from teeming masses of humanities and rural areas and stuff like that. Just because there's less consciousness focused on the lower densities, so they can bring their vibration to be more physically. And as we raise up, we're going to have that when enough of us on the planet do it, then we'll have the mass landings and stuff like that. Uh, so that's what it is moving your focus up higher frequencies. And to do that, of course, you have to have the energy. You allow the energy. Your 5 senses are pretty much in 3D. They're very low level perceptors. Your 6th sense gives you a sense of things, intuition and stuff like that. Those you practice, you get better at. And then, of course, I can't believe we've gone this far into the interview without me saying it. Clear, clear, clear. You move the dense things that you're holding. Anything fully expressed turns to bliss. Anything that you don't fully express gets dense in you and keeps you down and stuck. So emotional movement, the release, and then you get the wisdom. You climb up the densities. I don't
Right.
know if that helps or not because it's such
Yeah.
a big topic.
It is a big topic, but when you talk about the clearing, and we talked about that in the first interview. So everyone that wants to go back or go to his website, becomingawesome.one, and he has this whole process that it really changed me. And I understand that. And I understand even how I've ascended and I'm moving. I can feel my perspective of life when I'm in nature, the connection with the trees and the animals, my dogs, right? That there's such a deeper connection. And I know it's from clearing. And I know it's an awareness for me. It's like the minute I feel like there's something that the firewall, right? That you call
Mhm.
firewall, I'm like, okay. And then I get it ready and then I'm clearing it. And then I just move on. But it's just, if I to explain that to people that are learning from you, Peter, is it really just is this practice of being aware of what we're not our thoughts, right? We're not I just love that. We're not that, but to be aware of that. It's an awareness.
Right, right. Can you be aware of what you're thinking without just being the thinker?
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly. That'll
So,
put people in a mind thing like, what?
right. Mine. Yeah. So, but it naturally lightens up. Like you were telling about the eye thing, the eye gazing that I'm able to do that transmission with. That helps slow the mind down. And that's a free tool that's available. It's on YouTube and everything. You can just get it there. The other thing I want to talk about clearing is, see, Ashley, you're one of the people who could have done enough work and have enough connection with your own source that you can get these guidance tips and then do it, right? But some people don't have that, they're still looky-loos, they're still window shopping, and they need a little help.
Right.
And so both Tracy and I have offering by donation 3 days a week book sessions. So you're in the presence and a field of somebody who has done a lot of this work and can hold a bigger space and more open, that whole group consciousness, hold a more openness so you can move through this easily. You still have to do the work. It's still you doing the clearing. You still have to go to the places that hurt and cry. But you got another person, like for instance, I'm an empath. So when I'm doing a session with somebody, I will cry as much or more than them, which means you're
Huh.
getting it at a lot faster rate that it's coming out.
Right.
And the good news is Spirit directed me. The reason I'm writing these books and the reason the third book is Service is trying to get a whole cadre of people ready for the next wave that's coming of awakening. And it's going to be massive. So we've already got 4 people that we've mentored who are offering sessions by donation on our website. You can scroll down on the booking page and link to their websites. And we've got another round of mentorship starting right now. So, if you feel like you've got some skills and abilities and want to learn these techniques, get in touch. But, there'll be another 2 people that have signed up so far. So this is going to grow exponentially. And in another couple of years, there's going to be hundreds, maybe thousands of people helping other people. So for those of you who aren't there and self-starter yet, don't think you have to do it alone. That's the whole Western thing that cuts us off from source. First of all, always do it with your divine. Second of all, if you need a hand, becomingawesome.one, go book a session. There's openings. We just opened it up again. There's openings right now. So check it out.
Yeah. So when in this book, in your second book, God Realization, you have steps that you teach people, which I feel like when you say there's some people that need that, those steps, and I do too, like we're all human, and it helps when you lay it out there for us, Peter.
Yeah.
So, but will you go over, like, I think of the chakras and the pineal gland, and, just even seeing that, like I said earlier, the Michelangelo and how it's the brain and how God is in, but when you understand, you always hear clear your pineal gland. I tell the girls, don't drink, don't use fluoride, all the things that you hear, but I don't. And I'm like focusing on that. And I feel like doing that when I'm listening or reading your book, there's that all these little steps are so important, right?
Yeah. So what my niche is in this world, this beautiful world of so many people stepping forward to help, my niche is the practical how-to kind of guy.
Right. And I love that.
Right?
And
A
that's why
lot
it
of
makes it easy. Yes.
Yeah, a lot of people have come to me and said, "Yeah, you're actionable. It's not
Right.
just fluffy messages. You're actionable. Do this, do this." And it works for most people, almost all. Okay, it works. And so that's why what I've tried to do is taken the things that worked for me and Tracy from the different teachers we've had and different schools that we've worked with and lay them out. And that's why the books are laid out. The first one is uh, connecting to your higher self. Second of all, becoming God realized. And third of all, going into service. And even though service sounds like, what, that's for other people. No, it's for you, but you'll get that when you get the next book. Now, the steps on God realization, I'm already assuming, because this is again, this 3 books. When I first did the outline of all this last year, Spirit says, no one's going to read that. That's too long. Break it into 3 books. I'm like,
Oh,
okay.
okay.
And then lay it in these steps that can build on the foundation. I'm like, oh, okay. Thank you. All right.
Hmm.
So that's how Source guides me. But the steps that are most important is one, the awareness, like you're talking about, the awareness of what you really are and putting that into practice, and then noticing the resistances you have to claiming your godhood. And this is really a big deal for a lot of us. Blasphemy, to say you're God, but you are, Ashley. I am. We all are. Bottom line, if nothing else, we're made out of God stuff, right? They say that the firmament made the heavens and the earth. Well, that means they made us, right? Well, what did they make us out of? Was there stuff out in the distance that they had grabbed and pulled into creation? Or is that God stuff too? So we're made out of God stuff. And then you understand that, and you understand the fractals of it, that each representation, and this is what the densities are. Okay, the steps
Mhm.
up that building, each representation is more specific and more individualized and into a lower vibration because it wants to experience what is there. Okay, so that's understanding the awareness. Then as you do that, you just keep your clearings opening, and we spend a lot of time on the chakras in the second book and
Yes.
getting that really open, because then you're ready to let the energy come into you. Most of us think that we're us, right? And you think we're a body, right? So first book, I try to make it clear you're not your body and you're not your mind. But if you want to overlay, I think there's like 9 bodies. There's the etheric, the energetic, the emotional, okay, all this stuff. So if you're this whole complex connection of bodies that shows up here, and if you understand that and then start to apply your focus and awareness to it, then you start gaining information from those other bodies. Then you start getting more knowing. Then you're up higher and you see more, which is basically all in being part of the oneness field. You can access these things easier.
Right.
It's really convoluted, but you kind of have to experience it.
Right. Totally. And I get that. But so lately in my awareness, I've understood, and you make it clearer to me in the last few days of me really studying you, is we all are a fractal of God. We time is all happening right now. In our past lives and our future lives, there's a fractal of us, of me. There's a little part of me in this body that chose to come down to this third density to understand the contrast and to really like, what? Why did I choose that? And why all the other lives and the fractals of myself and the past and the future are all on a mission to uh, God realization or be expansion.
Right. Well, here's kind of how it is. It's like you're dealing with the all that is, right?
Right.
So if you take all that is literally, then you have all the science fiction superhero stuff, and you're in the multiverse because all
Yes.
that is more than just this. There's the multiverse, which means if you can conceive of it, it has happened. All right. You would not be able to conceive of something that has not happened, just not happened here. Okay.
Got
So
it.
now if you move it to the highest level, as I understand it, because I can't speak for God right now, although God's laughing and saying, "Oh, go ahead." All right. All right. So, all right. From God's point of view, wants to experience it all to create new. This is the whole thing. It's not just, oh, let me play inside the playground. Let's make it bigger and bigger and bigger. And so you create new. So how do you do that? You have all these fractals, different
Right.
things, and they all do what they're going to do. But it's really inefficient, especially when you can do everything you want in time and space and creation, right? It's inefficient to do it linear, one lifetime, one lifetime, one lifetime. So all the souls that say, hey, I'm in on this. I want to be an expanding part of God. I want to experience. Let me go. So all the souls that do that say, okay, now let me go and do it throughout time. I'll do this range of lifetimes, future
Okay.
and past. And so we all think it's all going on linear. No, no, not from the soul point of view. It's all happening now. So if you can clear something now, you help somebody
Right.
then, they help you now. So you download the information already, even though it hasn't been invented yet because it's in the future. All right. So that's just in our one linear timeline. And then
Right.
you get into the multiverse and then just throw out everything. It just gets super crazy when you're in the multiverse because then it's every possible outcome has
Right.
happened in a timeline. And then as you become aware of this, the consciousness that you are, because you get to speak for your soul, you have that right. You're not a pawn here.
Right.
Okay. The concierge says, well, I want to choose the fun one. I want to choose the good one where we're happy and people are enjoying and everything. And that's how timelines then coalesce. And that's how we get into being in a place where we are moving into the planetary ascension, world peace, all that other stuff.
Right.
Uh,
So
through
when you say that we're going into this golden age and people talk about this golden age, what were you just calling it also?
Yeah, the golden age is as good as anything, but in Hindi they call it the Satya Yuga.
Oh,
Golden
okay.
age is easier to pronounce.
Yeah. But you'd say like, I always know the power of, one person's vibration affects, millions or more, right? So we're living now in this time where we're understanding vibration and, the densities and all that. So we're making an impact on the people this podcast is making an impact because people listen. I look and I
Yep.
think, wow, 5,000 people listen today. It
That's
had to have,
service. That's
yes.
service.
And that fills my heart, Peter. And I know that's why what's my passion is that. Like, I love it. And I have this I know that my vibration when people listen to these podcasts is raising the planet's frequency. So
Yes.
everybody doing this, what you're doing, we're all doing our part to do this. So we came into this 3D body at this time in our history on this planet Earth to shift the consciousness, raise the awareness, and bring the frequency up to right now up to into the fifth density.
Yeah. And it's even bigger than that, Ashley, because
I
we are
know.
doing all of that and it's bigger than that. Because as I understand it, this is humanity's fifth attempt. The first
Okay.
4 times we did not succeed. Okay.
Right. And
And so
that's
you go,
Lumeria and Atlantis
yeah, and even further back.
further
Okay.
back. Okay.
Okay. All right. And so, we did not succeed. And it's not just that we're trying to lift up a planet, but we're trying to lift up a planet all at once. Now, it doesn't seem like all at once because I'm told it's a between 40 and 400-year timeline, depending on how much we want to really get it done. Okay. But from a soul point of view and an all that is point of view, that's nothing. Okay. In the
Right.
past, it would always be a few on the planet, and then a few more, and then a few more. Now we're trying to lift an entire planet up. And so that is really, really what we're trying to create. Okay. And
Okay.
if we succeed, it'll be a first because it hasn't been done in the universe yet, a planetary all at once. So we're laying the blueprint for how it's done. All
Hmm.
right. So that we're going to be out there and all those people are channeling guides and stuff. We'll be channeling humans. And as far as their teachers and stuff. And then it gets even more exciting because not only is this the first, but it affects other species. All right. So in a genetic 3D point of view, you guys, we're a mix. We're not just, there's a lot of DNA from a lot of different star races in us. Okay. And so they're trying to see how this all plays out so they can incorporate this in the future. All right. Other things that are even not physical incarnate, like the angelic realm, they're super, super interested in what humanity is doing and have been helping us for a long time, this our whole
Right.
written history. Okay. Because we have a certain emotional capacity that they don't yet have. And with that emotional capacity, we can do manifestation and creation and physicality more easily. Now, the angelic realm, you understand, it's all light and shiny and there's good music and they're relaxed, but that's all it is, right? And
Right.
they're like, you want more of that? You guys have rock and roll, okay? So can we learn? So the angelics have been helping us because once we succeed, then that vibration, especially because of their help, will now be within their realm and in their peoples, and so they're going to grow. So what we're doing is way more massive and awesome than just Earth ascending. It's the ramifications are universal.
What came to me were the people like you or people that are awake now and trying to ascend this planet. Do you think we were part of Atlantis and the ones behind that? We know what it was like, and now we're here to do it again, but do it right?
Oh yeah. I mean, I'm for certain that I did PR for the Great Crystal. I was the one convincing millions of people that they should do this, that I could blow up the whole, which ended up in the whole continent blowing up and killing all those people. I mean, yeah. So I have tons of karma around that. So all you people selling nuclear energy and all the other crap that you've been selling for a long time, that was me. Okay. All right. So yeah, we're all doing it. It's just kind of how it is. You wouldn't be around for round 5 if you didn't do the first 4 rounds. I mean, there are
Okay.
some people who wanted to come in because this is the most exciting ticket in the galaxy right now. But for most of us, yeah, we've been here.
When you say the first time in ever, what does the planet look like then when we do that? What is the outcome?
So that's kind of interesting. When I used to go to Oneness University, they'd always like have people go into meditation and then write down what they saw Earth 400 years from now. And it was very interesting. So first of all, as what I can personally glean, and it's just very limited, but what other people have shared to me who've done this exercise is that our bodies are not going to look like what they look like now. Taller, thinner, and more etheric. You'll be more light. And as such, you won't have the same kind of density. You won't be eating as much, if at all, that kind of stuff, breatharian stuff like that. That's where we're happening. So it's going to be more etheric, but it's still going to be permanent in that it's physical, but not 3D physical. It's upper 4D, lower 5D physicality, which is, how starships can move in and out of, like, they hide in clouds, but then you see them and then they don't. And how do they move from here to there? Well, because they just change their frequency. I think the folks in Dune had it right. Frank Herbert had it right when he said fold space. They just literally hold a point in time, the coordinates of a space-time point, and they can move to it because they put their consciousness on it. Very exciting. In my third book, I've been downloading information on how to do that as a person. So that'll be
Oh,
coming out soon. But anyway, what's going to happen is that our planet is now going to be like the starships where they move through density. And us as people are going to move through density. So we're going to still be solid, but not solid. And as we
okay.
put our focus, it'll move more towards that. And so shinier, brighter, lighter is what the planet's going to look like.
But will we, as our body now, like I'm 55 years old, if this happens in, you know, 10 years from now, when I'm 65, will my body start transforming like you just described, like lighter, and I won't be eating? Or do I have to die first?
So I'm hoping. I don't have that answer, Ashley. I'm hoping. I'm 66 now.
Okay.
And, but I keep youthing. Everybody
Right. Well,
looks at
that's
me.
what you talk about that in your book. Youthing. I'm like, I'm all about youthing.
Right, 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 exactly. Because you're getting lighter, so you're not aging. And trick from Cryon, talk to your cells, tell them to count two for one. So make 2 days pass before they count one. And then teach them higher math, teach them negative numbers. Okay. And then when you get to the place when you can move through timelines, all right, I haven't mastered it yet, but I've been spirits telling me yes, then just move to the younger version of you, except have it here now, have that younger version come to you now instead of you go to it back then. I don't know how all that works with time and space, but that's going to happen. Are we going to do it in this lifetime? Maybe. It's going to be happening for more and more people. We're getting a lot of people who are older and older. We're getting more and more breatharians who aren't eating, who are just proving you can just live off of prana and
Right.
stuff like that. And we're seeing a lot of people who are looking better and better because, diseases are fading away and stuff like that. Oh, I got a colonoscopy just before I went to Europe.
Oh,
And
fun.
I had to find a special doctor who would not require I be sedated during it. So actually, I had
Oh,
to hunt and shop for a doc. There was only one in Santa Fe who would do it because I didn't want drugs. Why? And a couple of times it got painful. I said, "Hold on a second." Took a few breaths, focused, relaxed, and then we continued. It was just that is simple. Anyway, so every intake level of every nurse is, "What drugs you're on?" None. What? How can you do that? Right? And you're not getting drugs now. And I'm like, right. Where's your consciousness? Where's your reality?
right.
Okay. Uh, so we still have a lot of density as far as beliefs about that. I was talking to my wife yesterday. She said, I got to go to the gym, work out. And I'm like, hey, we just got back from Europe. Make it a very light workout. No, 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 no pain, no gain. You got to ache or you don't grow. And I'm like, how many videos have you watched that told you that? To now every cell in your body believes that. Don't you
Ah,
think you can just have your cells get stronger? And she looks at me, but I'm like, no, but. Okay. So anyway, you do what makes you happy until you're used to it. So a lot of us, how far away is the possibility of even slowing down our aging, let alone going backwards and then
right.
not dying? Right.
Right.
So it's happening. I don't know when.
Right. You talk about there was a story about the allergies and the weather and that woman that you met that you had allergies your whole life and she's transformed you to believe. Will you explain that story? I love that because it is kind of along the lines of like, when you talk about this, the wellness of people. And my daughter just had her wisdom teeth out a couple days ago. And you'd say like, that's the last thing, but you just do what the doctor says, like, okay, but get her anesthesia. And then she comes out, well, here's the pills. Well,
Right, right, right.
well,
And so it's just
no.
the normal way of going.
Yeah. And,
Yeah,
but because I'm awake and aware, like, okay, we're not doing that. We're not doing these things after, like, we're good. Our body knows how to heal.
right. And then you have to like not just make the choice, but then actually live what you had suppressed mentally all that time when you did believe it.
Right. Exactly.
And that has to get cleared, clear.
Yep.
Uh, yeah. So I have so many allergy stories. I'm not sure the one you're referencing. I can tell
Anyone.
you, I can tell you that uh, allergies almost always are related to long-term past life issues. And I just did this clearing Saturday, 2 days ago before this recording, where so those of you who know my past and stuff know I was sexually tortured and abused as a kid and stuff like that as an infant. And it was horrific. And so I grew up with this mother whom I hated and was dysfunctional and stuff like that. So I'm starting to hit this next level where everything's just not working and stuff, and I need to do this clearing. And so I'm with my wife because she's good at this stuff. And she's like, checks in and says, okay, ancestral clearing time. We need to get this out of your lineage, not just you, your lineage. And I'm being guided that if you can connect to your mom's soul and then process and experience all the pain she suffered, then you can bring in your whole lineage and get it done. So I'm sitting there puking and puking, basically trying not to barf and coughing up and spitting because, I'm a 6-year-old girl being strangled now by my father and raped and stuff like that. I'm like, holy cow. So first of all, I'm immediately transferred into, oh my God, everything I hated my mother for is like, this is where it came from and stuff. So
Right.
how could she do anything else? I could just see that because I had the experience of it. So there's a lot of healing and forgiveness at that level. Plus there's a lot of energy that got cleared. So then we can bring source in for both me and her and our lineage and clear it through time and space,
Mm-hmm.
right? Because it's all now anyway, right?
Right.
And so we were doing that. Now, how does this relate to allergies? Well, one of the biggest things we cleared was it's not safe being here. I'm not safe here. Of course,
Mm-hmm.
she wasn't safe. She was a little girl and she was getting raped by her dad and shit like that. Of course, it's not safe. All right. And so you build up these things. And so it gets expressed as illnesses and diseases that we call allergies, environmental sensitivities and stuff like that, because we don't have the awareness yet, because we play the forgetful game, because we don't really want to really know, which is why we keep doing this cycle. Okay. So now that I'm here, I can see it. So the whole thing for me in allergies is, oh, yeah, I'm safe in the world. And once I am safe in the world, and I have to really not just experience it, but believe it, right? Because the unconscious programming goes back generations.
Right.
Uh, Once I get that, then I start making choices and doing things. I'm noticing that I've shifted. I used to not eat wheat, but now I'm buying bread from a local baker who's getting her grain sourced locally, organically, and I feel perfectly fine.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, did that allergy to wheat just go away, or did I get more conscious and therefore aware? Now you could do it the other end. Oh, well, you changed your sourcing and stuff like that, and it's healthy, and that's true. That's all true. But that happened at the same time this clearing happened. So chicken and egg, which one caused which, right?
Right. Right.
Uh, so that's how it is for allergies. You start to aware, where have you been beaten down and taken advantage of and felt unsafe about through this lifetime for everybody, little kids, in
Right.
simple ways. Shut up, you're to be seen and not heard, that kind of stuff like that, you know? Uh, so yeah, that's how it is. It's like a lot of that clearing is going to go away. So a lot of that disease is going to go away.
Right. Yeah. I totally see that. And I know that uh, I don't know. I've just been really, that's something on my forefront of my learning is like I told you before we hit record, being in Europe, seeing how clean everything is and coming back here and going, gosh, I feel like we're being poisoned. Like, I make sure the girls read every ingredient and everything. And like, do you realize what you're eating? Can you read the word? Like it's just, yeah, it's, I'm at that place in my life where, yeah, I'm going to go to the farmer's market and find the local baker who can, create this food that we're going to be eating that's going to keep our chakras clear and our pineal gland open and all the things.
Yeah,
But
while we're on food, let me just tell you that so when I was in the Czech Republic with my friends there, the guy's former wife, the people were staying with his former wife, has a coffee shop. And so she would source her beans. And so she found a local lady in the Czech Republic who would roast the beans. And this lady, while she roasted the beans, would sing to them.
Ah,
Right.
yes.
So it's like, these are singing beings. Okay. So this is where we're headed, where it's not just, oh, I'm not processing food. I'm putting my consciousness into the food.
Yes. Right. Like when you
And
talk to water and
yeah,
the sending love to that. Yes.
yeah.
It's like
So it's just,
what you said about Lee Carroll, like the cryon talking to your cells, right? Like it's the same, like you send love to those. It's all
yeah,
water.
yeah, yeah. Yeah. Which is something I want to
Love it.
plug because what I'm with you, I want to plug. We're just releasing the Becoming Awesome line of merchandise. I'm wearing the Nebula version shirt, but
Oh,
what
fun.
we've got is the sacred geometry shirts. So if you know, like talking to water, Emoto's work where he put
Right.
the little words on the water crystals and they turn better. So we took all kinds of sacred symbols and sacred geometry things and put them on clothing.
Oh, cool.
So you can just start to wear your power. So
Yes.
becomingawesome.one, check out the merch, if you're
Oh,
interested
fun.
in that
I
kind of
love it.
stuff.
Yes, I love that. You were talking about a Kundalini, and then you bring up the Taurus symbol and how the Taurus, goes one way, but how do you get it back to go the reverse way? Will you explain
Mm.
that?
So that's actually in the third book is how to get, what dueling pianos are and dueling banjos. Can you have dueling Tauruses? All
Right.
right. Can you have a Kundalini, which is a big donut, or so actually a Taurus, which is a big donut. So you can see your Kundalini move through you in a donut shape. Okay, but it's not just in one direction, it's all around you. So it seems to be moving like this. And then move it the other direction. And then twist it in both directions. And that's how you create a personal portal, Spirit's been telling me. So I'm going to release a video in another few weeks explaining this, and then I'll be step-by-step instructions in the third book. When you practice your meditations, when you clear your chakras and practice, it's basically you just practice moving it one way using intent and focus to feel the energy go, and then practice moving the other way, then alternate breaths, then do them both simultaneously. And then, you're going to start having a portal. It's hard to say what happens. Spirit keeps telling me, Peter, stop being a doubter, because I think I've shifted a couple of timelines now because things kind of just shimmer for a second. I'll be different when I do this, but everything else still seems the same. All right.
Right.
But, I'm working on timelines where, either I'm more successful or there's more peace in the world. And I just keep feeling happier. So I lead those results to report. Uh, so yeah, that's going to be there. So how to do it is, you practice, but you understand that's why these books are laid out. First, you did those meditations to raise your Kundalini, then get it to move into orbit into a Taurus. Then in the third book, two Tauruses in opposite directions. And I ran it by a friend of mine. He's a higher level mathematician. And I said, hey, GW, what do you think of this? And he's like, and he's really terse, which I love about him. He doesn't speak a lot. So he just said, oh, I don't have anything to add, which is his way of saying it's pretty good. And then
Oh,
he
cool.
emailed me 2 days later and says, you need to look at this work and this work. And one of the works is Nassim Haramein. And so he's a physicist who understands consciousness. He's one of the few scientists who talk about consciousness as a thing. And so basically, those of you who are watching this, you know you're looking at a screen, and that screen is made of pixels, little dots, right? Now imagine voxels, which is not just 2 dimension, but 3 dimension of these little dots, okay? And
Hmm.
imagine reality is made of voxels instead of pixels. So what Harriman says is that each voxel, the two things are important. One is they refresh, just like the screen you're watching refreshes so many times a second. So it's like, so many times a second, nanosecond, reality, all right, based on consciousness. The other thing is that in each of these voxels is a wormhole. Taurus is doing their thing, okay? And that's what I got the double Taurus thing going on. And each of these wormholes is connected to every other voxel and every other wormhole, which means that if you do one little shift in where you're at in reality, you do all the shifts in reality. So
Uh,
that's what I think is the scientific explanation. Give me Dr. Harriman for butchering your high science and my explanation here, but this is the best understanding I have, okay, of how it all works. That this is going to be our portals, our personal portals to change timelines, to manifest the realities we want. And who knows, Ashley, you might be really good at it and calling me up in the air. Peter, I've mastered this and now I'm younger. Look at me. I mean, I don't know.
Oh, please. That's it. But when you talk about like you've jumped timelines or, parallel, I look at it as a book, like the pages of a book. Like, here's a page, then maybe I move to this page, that page,
Right,
where
right.
you say like, because I don't watch the news. I am always outside. I do my breath work. I'm full on in. I get to
Uh-huh.
have
Uh-huh.
conversations with you. It's like I read your book. That's my focus. I go deep with every person I interview. So I really
Beautiful.
am locked in, right?
Beautiful.
So when you say like, oh, I'm happier and then I have like more money or, I'm on this page, how do you explain that? Because I get it. I feel like I can shift timelines. I can sit at at dinner with my family going, "Oh my gosh, this is like the heaven." Like, and then you could say the day, but you know what I mean? Like people are like, I just want you to explain, because if when you look at it like you've changed, you've turned the page and you're now
Yeah.
living at that. How do you explain
Yeah.
that? Because we
Yeah.
all can do that.
Yeah, well, that's what Ascension is, learning how to do that, right?
Right.
That's why I'm the how-to kind of guy. Yeah. I don't like your analogy, sorry,
That's
of
okay.
turning a page because it seems like a linear book. The other pages haven't been written yet. To me, it's jumping to
Okay.
a whole new book with a whole new story.
Ah, okay. So
But yeah,
I'm gonna
how do you
here
go?
I'm reading your book and then now I'm gonna be in another book.
Yes, which will still
Okay.
be my book, but it'll be a different me and a different you.
Ah,
I
the
know.
the
I was
emoji with the head exploding.
right. So I was just in Vienna, and so I went to the National Library, and there's like this library with 7.4 million books in it. So
Oh
I had to
yeah.
go be in it just to be in it. Oh, I want to
Right.
be. I want. Come on, download. Give me. Because how else do you get knowledge? Anyway, so how do you go from place to place? Well, it all goes back to awareness. Awareness is the first step. Awareness is the last step. Then it's a matter of clearing. So when you're not holding densities, the densities of things that are stuck, unmoved, charges, emotions not fully expressed,
Right.
okay, which is the whole clearing thing, that keeps you locked into the reality. Then there's the mental stuff, the conscious and unconscious things that are spinning, saying, this is how it is, this is how it is, right? That keeps you locked in. So you break past those levels. Then it's a matter of focus. What you focus on, you instantly move to. Like I was trying to tell you, that's how starships move across the
Right.
vast distances. They can hold it clearly and they go there, right? And so they're in a new timeline because in the old timeline, they were on the other side of the galaxy, but on this timeline, they're right now in Earth orbit.
Right.
Okay. And so there's that aspect to it. Uh, so the key is that I'm learning is allowance, because intent is how we did it in 3D, allowance is how we're going to do it in
Hmm.
5D, to let it come to you. And so all those resistances are the blockages, are the mental beliefs, all that stuff that's keeping you stuck here, you know. So yeah, the intent is beautiful, but it's going to burn your butt. It's going to kick you in the butt because it's going to come, all the unconscious stuff that you're not clear about is going to rise. So intend away, practice law of attraction with your good intents. And then when you don't get what you want, then make a list of what you're not getting and why and go clear it.
Right.
Okay. Then move into the allowance. How can I let this come to me? And then it's really hard to explain. How do you explain allowing? You
Right.
know, well, I called up this, I didn't call up, I was on WhatsApp. There's this beautiful lady I met while I was in Egypt on a cryon tour when this whole started my transition. Didn't even hang with her much, maybe spoke 3 conversations with her over a month period. But she was a nice lady, and I knew she lived in Budapest. So I just sent a text over on WhatsApp and said, "Hey, Veronica, we want to fly out of Budapest because it's cheaper to fly home from there. Do you want house guests for a few days?" She
Oh my
says
gosh.
yes.
Wow.
And then she lays out the carpet for us. No, you can't come in my kitchen. I wouldn't even let my mother in the kitchen. I must cook for you and I must clean.
Wow.
And so I'm getting goulash and all these other Hungarian dishes that she's driving us around to see the sights and stuff. Thank you, Veronica. Thank you. And how do these things happen? You
Right.
just have to keep allowing them, and then you
Yes.
get more and more miracles.
Right.
It's really, this is not the how-to stuff as far as like how do you get there. You have to do the steps on the clearing, then open your awareness like you're doing, Ashley. If you made a list of all your miracles, like, and kept a journal, in 6 months, you'd go, oh man, I was thinking about these things. That's so yesterday. Look at what's happening now.
Right. I love
I mean,
that.
you already know this.
I love that. I'm in the gratitude place, and I know you talk about that a lot. And I just even more so every day. It's just like, oh, like I get, where I could cry. And, even in the car with the girls, we drive a lot, and I don't care about the traffic. I'm just with them, and I just know this is just precious time, and I'm just in it, right? But
Beautiful.
that takes you to that then I'm allowing these things to happen. Then I see then it's like, oh, look at this, and we get to have this happen, and all these beautiful things, because we're allowing, and we're in that vibration of the highest gratitude of, you know, in gratitude, because it's all coming. And I feel like when I look at allowing, because I understand that, because I do understand allowing, because I understand surrendering to the magic and the miracles and watching it come, and just allowing that. But when you are at that high frequency, I connect that gratitude with allowing. Do you see that?
Yeah, yeah, totally, 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 totally. And to me, when I talk about prayer and teaching how to pray, uh,
Yes.
a lot of that is, you see it's already happened, and propel it with gratitude. So even though you're still hearing this 3D with this experience, you're in mentally and consciously in a place where you're having what you desire, and you're just so grateful. So you're already having the experience before you physically have the experience, which is
Right.
cool, because when you get the experience, you get it twice then. But anyway, because you're in that place, then it's going to come to you. Law of attraction, it must come to you. So
Right.
then if it doesn't come to you, you hit these blockages, i.e., what's still stuck in me? What do I don't believe? How come I don't feel like I deserve or can have this? Those are the deeper levels you get to. And so yeah, it's all about, you stay in the allowance with the gratitude. You stay in the gratitude, which is the allowance, and then you'll get it. And if you don't, then you instantly know what is in you that isn't allowing. And
Right.
then in my second book, I call that the second prayer. That's when you pray, okay, I haven't got this. Show me what I need to do to get it. Because I actually tell, and if you put a date on it, pray for
Yes, that's what
something,
I was
put
going to
a
say.
date
Date.
on it.
That
So
was my
you,
next.
yeah, so you have a markation line, a line in the sand. Okay, am I in flow or not? And yeah, so
You know,
yeah,
so what going there, when you talk about, coming to the end, but even that, it's understanding we all have that. It's the intuition. And it's, you talk about, my name is Fred Flintstone, or my name, like saying that, or I always talk about, the sway test, you move forward, it's yes. But with the muscle testing, we all have that. Those are
right.
the,
That's the new word I coined, my internal guidance system.
Oh, funny. I love it. Yes, but we all have that. I always, the internal GPS system, we have that. So when you are in life, and you are in gratitude, and you are allowing, your body knows, and it keeps saying yes or no. You just keep moving forward, taking the breadcrumbs.
That is allowance, truly, Ashley. That is allowance. And it's simple to say it here, and both you and I can laugh, because how much work did we do to clear to get here?
Right. Exactly. It is
Which
a
is what
lot.
I want to invite all of you to do. Please do your internal work. The whole website I built, the books I'm writing, Tracy and I, this is our dedication, is to get a whole cadre of people that are at a very nice level. Because like you said, Ashley, one person affects a lot. When I first went to this university, Bhagavan would say, if you're fully awakened, you're going to bring 70,000 people with you. And I
Mm.
didn't understand that, but now I do understand it.
Oh, I do
Other
too.
people, you just walk in and their field shifts because they're in your field now. And then I'm starting to see, like in Budapest, or me in Vienna, where people are walking by and I can see how magnificent their soul is and all the deep reaches of it. And I'm like, oh my God. So if I'm seeing that, then I'm grounding that seeing on the planet. And we're all going to see that. And that's why it's going to happen so beautifully.
Right. We're all tapping into these gifts, these channeling gifts, and being able to shift timelines. And it's all going to be part of this new golden age, I guess,
Yeah.
when we flip the planet, right?
Yeah. And we can all sit there and say, and we did this.
Right. Do you think once we do it, our souls are going to be like, oh, I'm done. I'm going to
So
go do
there's a
something
lot of
else.
people who are done with physical incarnation. I'm like, I want to be on Earth. I want to see what it's like to be in an ascended planet in this experience. Because I got, I'm used to this. A lot of people, I'm done. Your soul never stops, right? You go on to whatever adventures or realities or universes you want to explore. All
Right.
right. But there are a lot of people who are going to be done with the Earth game. And it's funny because a lot of people say, I'm done. They're mainly just tired and unfulfilled, which suggests to me they have charges of tired and unfulfillment that they need to clear.
Clear.
But you never know.
Yeah. But yes, I look at it like, it's as a mom too, like seeing your children grow up and wondering like, seeing having my first one starting college when I feel like this education system is just going to start falling apart, right? It's like, how
Right.
long is that going to go for? How long does she have to learn algebra? Like, like it's just these like, the government, I don't even know what's going on in the government because if I do, I'll say, Richard, are we having an election still? Like, because
Right.
he'll watch the
That's going to
news.
be the last thing to change because it's the most dense of the energies and it's the people who are excited about playing the control game. So they're not going
Yes.
to give it up. Right. So that'll be the last to change. But, earlier this year, I was channeling some Pleiadians and they were telling me how our election is super important this year because not because the result, the outcome you vote, but because another 15% of the population is going to realize that that is not the answer. The external system is not the answer. And out of that 15%, a good chunk will turn inward to look for the answer. Some will just get disenfranchised and say, all those bastards, and go live in a cave. Because, I've done that. We've all done that. And, but a lot of people are going to say, oh, the external thing isn't the answer. What is the answer? The internal thing. And then out of that, a good percentage are going to start to do the work.
Right.
So, it's going to be another big chunk is going to take off because of the election.
Huh, yeah, I can see that being a big turning point. I love that. And because, oh my gosh. Anyway, what if we end with seeing if you can channel some message, if it's Archangel Michael, all your special entities that come through. If we want to end on that, everyone knows how to find you. So if any message comes through, Peter, I would be grateful.
Yeah, I'm trying to tap in because there's 3 or 4 people who want to speak right now. And I'm just trying to tap into who's going to be most appropriate by my choice, since it's my free will. And we're settling on Saint Germain.
Hmm.
So give me a second. Here we go. Dearest beautiful souls, thank you so much, always, for the opportunity to be with you. The reality is, we are with you, we are you, and you are with us, and you are us. But from your point of view, it is not experienced and felt. And that is what your ascension is, the journey of becoming into the feeling. And the message that each of us, though Peter selected me to be the voice of this moment, the message for each of us is you have so much help. Yes, angels, guides, saints, extraterrestrials, dimensional beings, they are with you. Find the ones you resonate with and make them part of your team. Literally, spend a moment every day saying, oh, hi, Saint Germain, or hi, Celestis, or hi, Mira from the Pleiades, or whomever it is, and say hello and just commune like they're in your household, because they are. And then they will be more physically available with you. Now, some people make the mistake of saying, oh, well, my higher self is always with me. And this is true. We are always with you. However, what you focus on is what you manifest. So it is useful to invite us in, especially those moments where you're doing things like your internal work or expanding or changing your timeline. By inviting us in, you strengthen the connection, and more importantly, you permission it. You give your permission in that moment for these energies to take place. So we're going to leave you with that now, except for one moment of just a blessing. And this is just a general blessing for all of you listening, all of you watching, to just let you know that you're in contact. And at any time, this contact is yours when you acknowledge it and choose to receive it in bigger and bigger ways. So please, just if you can, close your eyes. If you're driving, please don't do this now. Come back. But close your eyes, put your hand on your heart, and just receive for a moment. Oh. Mm. If you're not feeling it, tap on your heart twice and focus on that vibration and let it in. Yes, yes, yes. This is an activation for you all. You've received this. Please continue to welcome in all of your spirit team in whatever you do. You are now more open and able to receive. Thank you for allowing us this moment to be with you.
Thank you. Oh, love that. Thank you. Thank you. Does it all cease to amaze you, right?
Yeah, it's like I kind of live in this state, right? I'm to the point now where I'm not even sure when it's me talking or my higher self because
Right.
I'm so merged. But still, every time I open up and expand and connect, it's like I get this flood of. I was feeling kind of mopey and down this morning, and yesterday I decided to channel Celestis, which is a 12th dimensional being that I've known for 10 years, but I've never channeled before. And so I did that. And so I did this channel. And then I was just like, oh, I was in such a different vibrational field because I'd let it flow through me for
Right.
20, 30 minutes. So it never ceases to amaze me. So even though I like think I'm good at this, it's
Right.
still mind boggling every little moment of it.
Yeah. Oh, I love it. Oh, so much. Peter, thank you so much for being here again. I loved it, every second of it. And I can't
Ashley,
wait for your third book.
my pleasure. It'll be out in a month. But for now, please check out the second book. You can get it on Amazon or go to my website, becomingawesome.one. Please know that there's lots of people now who are offering sessions, mostly by donation. So it's not a money thing,
Right.
but that's money is appreciated. But don't let that stop you. Get some help. Do a little tune up, do a little clearing, and take another step forward, and then you'll be carrying it as well. So becomingawesome.one for all of that.
Yes. Thank you. And I mean that when you go to that website, there's so many things on there. So, I mean, if you just wanted to look through the website, you'd gain so many things like I have. It's amazing.
Yeah, I've redone the website since we last spoke, and you sign up for a free membership now, and you have access to like 20 or 30 different tools. You can sign up for a monthly membership, which costs you like $19 a month, 18.88, and that'll uh, allow you to drop in on the weekly group consciousness meditations and get classes and stuff like that. So there's a lot of stuff out there, and it's either free or affordable. Dive in. This is your time. You don't want to go through another 26,000 year cycle, or maybe you do.
Oh, I love it. Thank you, Peter.
All right, Ashley, many blessings to you and to everybody listening. Thank you.
Thank you.